tournament. Why? Because people aren't getting the ball in that position who he thinks can get him the ball.
He's one of the best number 10s, if not the best number 10 in world football, and playing in that way. So, you know, and he just felt like he was locked up on that.
What it allows him to do, though, so when he was playing on the left and he was trying to go central, it was too congested in there. And sometimes he was receiving the ball too deep on the left. When he's playing central, even if he can't get between the lines, he can still drop deep and dictate play from a deeper role. That's why it's imperative he plays in a number 10 position.
It also massively helps that the whole team has played higher up the pitch. Harry Kane has stayed high, as we talked about, mostly in that game in the first half. Really important, even if he's not involved in the game that much, it helps everybody behind him because it creates the space for them, doesn't it, as well? Yeah. And the press for England has been really important as well. It's the first time, I think, probably since the first 20 minutes or 30 minutes of the first game.
Yeah, well, we asked if this team can press and if it's designed that they can press, but we see here, yes, they can. This is the first one. They get it wrong, but they quickly learn. But they get it wrong and they get given a little taste of what could come if they don't get this right. Yes, you see the overload then is 4 against 3 because they didn't go in on that first ball and close him down and they allowed him to turn. This is when problems come. They got a goal very similar to this in the game before by third men running from deep. Here again they go. The trigger, yes, a speculative ball, but Declan's high enough to be able to anticipate and then jump from the good position. And then you get opportunities like this. Kane lays it back to Maino, great strike, gets blocked. But these moments only come when you're set up as a team to be able to strike and pounce. And they do that really well. Again, really high, pressurising the goalkeeper, forcing keepers to make different decisions. Again, speculative ball, hard to deal with. The first one, it didn't go in. Yes, they go in. Stones goes in. Mainu then gets it. Look at this kid when he's under a bit of pressure. Doesn't come out to nothing, but he's drawing people to him. And we get in these positions to attack based on the press. And this is what you want to see. We see these players do this week in, week out with their clubs. Now we're seeing it for a half of football in England. Look at the numbers there. If you win that there, you get chances at goal. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, this is what all the best teams do. They counter-press because they've got so many numbers up the pitch and control. It's something we've lacked through the tournament so far, but now you're seeing it. When you have the numbers and then you have the intention, there is an element of risk, like we saw the first clip that they played through, but you have to risk that slightly. You have to be brave. You have to be brave and understand they can play back through you.
I mean, people at home might be saying, well, we haven't created that many chances or anything, but it's significantly better. No shots on target, but 2 or 3 block shots, and you wear teams down this way, don't you?
And you higher up.
Exactly.
That's the thing, higher up, play the key passes, and there have been a lot more forward passes as well. I think Pickford, you did analysis before the game, kicking it long. I think actually, apart from the first minute in the game, he was actually playing delicate passes into the midfield.
It's great that they've got the TV in the change room and they watch the analysis. It's brilliant. I love it. I love that.
It's nice to be able to be positive, and I think we should definitely be positive about Konsa. Ezri Konsa, I mean, he stepped in, a lot of pressure.
He stepped in for Gay, and Gay has been a big miss, and you know, one of the biggest games of his career. If not, it's can you control your nerves? Can you do the basics very well? And he's done all of these things. I mean, especially when for Aston Villa this season he had to play at right back a lot of the season. I think his body shape here wasn't great, and then he gets it right. A wonderful header away, he sees a danger, and then can you get tight? Can you get tight against Mbolo, who's obviously a strong boy? He waits for the help from Declan Rice, and then his positioning has been great, and then this is why they've had no shots on target, because he's putting his body on the line, and I just think his overall game has been fantastic, just capped off by that right position, seeing the ball out, and he's been excellent. He really has.
All of those clips are wonderful. One of the biggest things for a centre-back in this situation, when you come in like this, is concentration. You have to remain focused and concentration on the job. Don't complicate things like he hasn't, and continue in that vein.
Yeah. We've seen terrific performance in the first half. Obviously, you can mention Saka. Bellingham's been all over the place. But Kobbie Mainoo, I mean, really.
Is he 18?
Yeah, just he's 19. He turned 19 2 months ago.
It's outrageous.
Second youngest player for England's playing a quarter-final, the other Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, he just doesn't look like a teenager. He looks like he's almost like a
experienced pro.
He's a prefect with the young kids in a school, and just saying, he's saying, this is what you do, this is how you do it. Just give the ball to me, and I'll lend it here and there. He plays with a maturity way beyond these years. He makes the right decisions more often than not. this was rocketing in on target, I'm sure. But it's just a cool and calmness. And I think what I've loved, that was a joke, took 3 players out of the game. But what I've loved is the way that he's dovetailed and rotated with Phil Foden. At times he's the number 10, then he comes back into the 6 or the 8, and he's so comfortable in either of those positions. And I've just loved the relationship he seemed to have built in this first 45 with Phil Foden.
I think we spoke before the game, and obviously he gets his chances of great tackle here, otherwise he's scoring there probably. But we spoke before the game about England looking a little bit rigid, a little bit positional, and that's the main thing for me. The system gives them better balance, but within that, good players, even at just turned 19, know to work off other good players. Yeah. And now you're seeing him and Phil Foden, particularly in that half, where they go, OK, Phil, you're dropping deep. OK, I'll go and stand behind the midfield.
Yeah. I mean, now it's half-time, obviously, and the manager's going to say more of the same, because we've seen in other games where England start that way, not so much complete 45 minutes, first game, for example, 30 minutes, and then back off. It's very important, isn't it, that they maintain this? Yeah,
definitely. Just keep turning the screw. I think we saw enough in that first half. Again, based off of the shape to go and press, we're getting good rewards and continue that, but you just want the end product. You want the final third decision-making just to maybe improve a bit more decisive, and then I'll see a goal coming.
But I don't think they should worry about the lack of chances too much, but a couple of half chances, because when you play against an organised back five, it's really hard to create. Yeah. That's why I think they've got to understand Saka there was so dangerous. It's like, how many times can we get him on the ball?
That's our boys, that's our team. Today, it wasn't perfect, but it was such an improvement. And then, like you say, nerves of steel when it mattered, gets down to penalties. And I've got to be honest, I had no doubts in my mind, because the penalty takers technically were perfect. They looked like a bunch that just had supreme confidence when you looked into each and every one of them when they're walking up to the penalties, and they dispatced. Magnificent. Man, I can't wait to go out. I can't wait to go out and celebrate this, man.
We saw what happened with Saka in the last Euros.
Yeah.
Missing in the big moment.
Redemption.
How would he react? And today, Rio says it, redemption. But not just that. It wasn't just the penalties, it's the way they played. There was brave. They went a lot higher. There was rotations. There was a formation and the structure that we've been crying out for. All the things we asked for, they delivered today. Yes, it wasn't perfect, like Rio said, but it's something to build on. And into the semi-finals, all them players fully deserve it after today's poll.
Lovely scenes there, particularly from his teammates at Manchester City, with Akanji there, obviously missed the penalty. Great sportsmanship from the England players, nice to see.
Rightly so. Akanji's had a great tournament, just to give him a shout out as well. He's a fantastic player, but there has to be a person. And you know what? Gareth in shot there. I think he got to deserve a lot of credit, because this, as much as he knows that pressure comes with this job, he's taking some serious pressure, and he's made a couple of calls there, change the system. Saka playing on the right, Foden played on the right 10, might have played on the left 10. A lot of decisions in game, subs works in the game, and I think they all. And we spoke before the game, would Slovakia be at the moment? I'm not sure it was, because the performance wasn't there. With this, there's a lot to go on here, especially that feeling they've got right now.
You've also got to give Gareth Southgate enormous credit for the penalties, because there's no doubt there's a lot of work gone into that. You know, people say it's a bit hit and miss, it's a lottery, but they've clearly trained. Well, they knew what they were doing, they knew where they were going to hit it, and there was confidence in those players.
Well, if you look at the players that took them, Cole Palmer stepped up, perfect. We've seen him do it week in, week out for Chelsea. Then Bellingham, you know, the confidence the lad had, you know he was going to step up. Saka, who I've just spoken about. Tony, brilliant. We've seen him do it for Brentford on a weekly basis, and then Trent comes onto the pitch and he delivers.
Do you know what as well? What you can take from this as well, you've got players that are quite squad players, like the Tonys, like the Palmers, like the Trent Alexander-Arnolds, now feel a real part of this team. They've taken part in a penalty shootout, dispatched their penalties, and now you've got another 3 players now really feeling part, because you know what it's like as a squad. Sometimes you feel on the edge of it, and look at those pictures there, look at the disappointment. We've been there, man. It's not a nice place to be, and it's a long time to forget. You don't never forget this feeling.
Saved by Jordan Pickford. The first penalty is so key as well, isn't it? If he can get off to a good start.
Yeah, because that's what settles down the takers after that, when you get that feeling that your nose is in front. Good save. Obviously, it wasn't the best penalty, but you make the save. Jordan was up to a few little antics. Good. Got to try and get every little detail you can to put off the takers, and he makes the save. And then the rest was exemplary from us in how we took them.
Let's get a word from inside the stadium with Alan Shearer. We've heard a lot of him tonight, but Alan, you've been involved in a couple of penalty shootouts yourself. You scored both yours, but you know what victory feels like. You know what defeat feels like. Describe your emotions and the emotions that the team will be going through right now.
Oh, the emotions the team will be going through, they'll be absolutely ecstatic, and so they should, because they have put an incredible shift in. A big shout out to the manager, you know, because he's missed a penalty, he knows what it's feel like. He's also knows on the other side in terms of a manager. So his preparation, you could see, was absolutely key. The players he's brought on in Trent and in Ivan Toney to take penalties, they were just perfect. I mean, we've been there, we've all been there. We know how pressurised that situation is. They made it look so easy. And when Pickford, he had to play the little games, got us off to a good start. And then the players who took the penalty did the rest. Goodness me, what an atmosphere. Well done, the players. Great credit they deserve. We've been wanting a performance. They can still do better, they can still do more, but they're through. That's the most important thing.
It was, Alan, and could this, I mean, obviously the Bellingham goal made all the difference in the last game, and he stood up again in the penalty shootout, knocked his in, but there's something maybe within this team. It's not always about performing brilliantly, isn't it? It's having that winning mentality.
Well, it's about big moments, and that was a huge moment when he put that overhead kick in. That was only our only shot on target. We needed another huge moment tonight. We got that from another superstar in Saka, the way he just curled it, caressed it into the corner. You could see what he was aiming to do and trying to do. He's done it so many times, and he's come to England's rescue again tonight. So big players produce in big moments, and they've done that again tonight. And you know, that spark in the previous game, we've seen improvement tonight. We're going to have to improve again, but they can.
Give us a sense, Alan, of the noise and the feeling amongst the England supporters in that stadium.
Well, we've just seen all the players dancing in front of the fans. The fans have been going absolutely berserk, and so they should do. They're all enjoying it. It's all